Coming up on Addiction Talk.
In 1991, Todd Marinovich looked like he was living the dream his father had mapped out since birth. A standout USC quarterback, a first round NFL draft pick, the new face of the LA Raiders. On paper, he had it all. But behind the roar of the crowd was a young man quietly unraveling. After multiple failed drug tests, Todd's promising NFL career came to an abrupt halt. Once called terrifyingly shy by his sister, Todd was a sensitive kid who preferred the shadows. Yet his father pushed him with unrelenting force toward NFL stardom. That clash between who he was and who he was expected to be created a pressure cooker that led him to substances at a young age just to cope. Years after being cut from the Raiders and enduring the long fallout of addiction, including going to rehab 7 times, Todd is finally at peace, in recovery, and recently released his memoir, Outside the Lines in Football, Art, and Addiction. This is his story. Addiction Talk starts now.
First, Todd, we are excited to have you on Addiction Talk. One, because you have a new memoir that is out right now. And it's one of the first times, I know we've heard your story over the years, but it's one of the first times you've told it in your own words. What made you say, now is the time to share my journey and the parts that people didn't see behind the scenes?
It was just a matter of timing, really. I annually go to the Raider reunion, and I ran into a teammate, Steve Wright, who had just finished writing his with his wife, and he encouraged me to do so. And I was in a good place, and I said, "Yeah, why not? Let's do it." So we started it a few years ago.
Did you ever have any hesitation? Were there parts you thought, I can't tell this because they're too raw?
Well, I trusted Lizzie Wright, Steve's wife, and I just I'm at a place where I'm an open book, no pun intended. So I just let it all fly.
How did you get to the place of being an open book? Because not a lot of people are there. Many of us, we want people to see the highlight reel, or we don't want them to see the behind the scenes reel. How did you get to the spot that you're like, I'm an open book. I don't care what you think. This is the real deal, and I have to share it.
It was definitely a process. I didn't get there overnight. I think when you create as much wreckage as I have, it's like why hold back in some areas and let go in some others. So it's just completely 100% honest, and it just felt right.
Were there parts that were hard to relive? Because I imagine, you had somebody who's writing the book with you, but I'm sure you have to relive that. What was that like, and how difficult was it to kind of go back to those places in your mind?
Yeah, it wasn't on my favorite list of things to do. So when we were in sections like that, and they came for sure, I treated it, and she helped me with that. It was just really treating it like an exercise, and we were just one question at a time. And because I've visited those tough times and in places before, and I think the more one can visit those and feel the uncomfortability like I did, there's benefit to it.
What would you say was one of those times that people will read in the book? What would you say was one of those times that was difficult that you share in the
book? To be honest, my whole childhood, I Well, especially the aspects that I thought people knew already. I'm so far removed from those. It feels like another lifetime ago. And yeah, it's I've experienced a lot in a short time, and I'm grateful for that.
I can imagine, because as you look back and you look through your childhood and all the things that you've been through, you said it seems like it was so far long ago. Is it hard to even remember that you were that person at that time?
Well, I know it was. I can remember for sure, and a lot of that was feeling uncomfortable in my own skin, and it's part of, you hear it a lot with people that have substance abuse issues, is they never felt comfortable, and I can relate with that.
When would you say was the first time you realized you didn't feel comfortable in your own skin?
Wow. I always did. So it wasn't a moment of like, oh, I'm feeling awkward for I always felt awkward. And so my sister called me terrifyingly shy. And that kind of, if I wasn't tucked under my mom's, waistband right next to her, I was fearful.
Which many people may be surprised of, because they're like, how do you become like this superb athlete, have to get out there in front of thousands of people, but yet inside you're feeling shy? How did you get to the point of being able to even do that?
Yeah, that's because the position that I played, quarterback, it just didn't go with my personality, and I loved the game of football. I just didn't want to open my mouth or talk to anybody. I'd rather been a wide receiver and make a few catches and just do my thing, and that wasn't the plan. And I started out as a wide receiver, but the quarterback got hurt, and they threw me in there, and I was the guy ever since. And it was super challenging, especially being thrust into a leadership role, because I didn't consider myself a leader, and I had to, learn to be okay, uncomfortable, and that's where substances came in for me. But playing quarterback, I had to fake it. I just felt like, okay, this is the guy that they want. I'll try to, give them that.
And I think a lot of people, surprisingly, Todd, if you think about it, live in that where they're faking it.
Yeah.
It's probably more common than any of us realize.
Yeah.
But it comes at a cost for many people. When did you realize that substances would be the way you would cope with that? Was it an experience? Were you out someplace and tried it, or how did that begin for you?
That began in high school, and I mean that was a high point for me of just anxiety and fear. I think it is for any freshman coming into high school for the first time. And because of my situation, and I was playing on the varsity and playing quarterback, it was nerve-wracking, and it was probably the most difficult time as a player that I've experienced, being, the totally new young kid, and there's grown men that have been at the school for 4 years that are shaving, and they have their buddy who's the quarterback, and they don't want anything to do with me. And that's difficult. And so, but it gave me something to build on for sure, because at every level that I stepped up and played, it was similar, but never as the gap like it was when I was a freshman playing with seniors.
And that was the first time you started experimenting.
Yes.
Was it at a party, or was it just something you said like
post-game parties? Mm-hmm.
And then over the years, it just escalated, or how did it get to the point? Take me through that journey, because I think a lot of people think, oh, I'm just experimenting, or oh, I'm just at a party. It's no big deal. Everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
But when we look back at the trauma it took you through,
Yes.
it was a big deal. But a lot of people think it's not.
Oh no, it's I'm a believer of talking about all this with young people, and I think it's super important because if they were talking about it when I was going through it, I wasn't listening. It was the Nancy Reagan "just say no" era, and we weren't saying no. It's definitely a slippery slope, especially if you know your family history and you have it in your genes. I think it really increases your chances. Because I felt, like you said, I felt like I wasn't doing anything different than any of the other teammates that I had. But as time goes on and you're consistent with this behavior, it's just a matter of time before whatever drug you're using isn't giving you that same relief, and you have to step it up. And that's what happened to me. It wasn't a planned, I want to grow up and end up a junkie. That was never a thought. I was an athlete, and playing the double life became really, really hard, and overwhelmingly hard. It was just too much, and I just wished I could get honest, and I just felt like I couldn't.
Two things that I want to add there. Going back to, you said you wish someone had talked to you.
Mm-hmm.
With so many kids being influenced these days, what do you think would have gotten through to you? What do you think you needed to hear?
Yeah. I don't know if anything would have gotten through. I really don't. Yeah. I just don't think I was receptive to anything at that time. It was, I was getting crammed, force fed a lot of stuff that I was at my highest point of rebellion. And so if you were going to tell me that it's not good, I probably wouldn't have listened.
And I think that's a hard part for many parents, because they think, what can I do?
Right.
Their kids are getting exposed to drugs, alcohol at very young ages. And you said many kids are in this rebellion stage. But looking back, if there was a warning that you could have given to your high school self, what would that warning have been?
See, no warning would have slowed my, addiction. It had been festering long before I ever even picked up a drug or a drink. It's there's not a lot you can do, and that's it's the heartbreaking part of what we're dealing with. It's terrible. So, my heart goes out to families all over the world. It's just it's becoming more mainstream and not so taboo that like it used to be, and that is just dangerous, and treating it so criminal like we had in the past. That's just a dead end street. But I think it's getting better, that there's actually conversation, and the conversation is so much different than when I was going through it. It's just there's no experimenting anymore for kids. How can they experiment when like fentanyl's out there, where you touch it, you die? It's just scary as hell.
And I think that is so true, because if you think about, you said you grew up in the, Nancy Reagan era. It's like, just say no to drugs. But kids thought, oh, we can experiment. No big deal. And it took years, like you said, over time that it escalated for you. But now kids take fentanyl, or they take a pill that they think is maybe Xanax or something, turns out to be counterfeit. And we're seeing like kids and adults even overdosing. So it's a totally different playing field that we're dealing with now. So I think for parents is just being aware. Were there warning signs that you think people or parents or even anyone should be aware of, that it was starting to get out of control before it got to the point of the incarcerations and, the rehab
Oh
and
yeah,
everything? Were there things that you would tell
yeah,
people to look out for?
yeah, for sure. And it's nothing. It's the normal when your behavior starts changing, and the people closest to you always can tell if they're not just completely in denial about it, and that can happen too. But everything just starts to slide, and it starts as little things that then over time become really big things.
Do you think anybody in your life recognized it? Did anybody try to talk to you as they started to see, like you said, it's that slippery slope?
Yeah, yeah, and it's such an insidious illness that because it's the only one that tells you that you don't have it when you do. So that's crazy in itself, because it's definitely centered in the mind, the problem. And man, I've tried to leave this thing behind on so many occasions because it seems that it doesn't have my best interests at heart a lot of the time. But through practice, you get better. Like anything, if it, I spent so much time in that area of being not healthy and trying to run from uncomfortable feelings and just anesthetize. And those behaviors just add up, and you're only going in one direction. It's just the nature, the laws of where we live. But if that can just be shifted a little bit, and then worked, and that's the thing that I have struggled with in my life and in my recovery, is this constant, there's just no time off, in a sense. It's not like on weekends I'm cool, I can do this. It's a full-time job, and the consequences are much, much healthier when I'm working in that way of thinking, rather than like I had for so long. But my point being is, if you spend time at it and you shift to a more positive and healthy lifestyle, in time you pick up momentum, which is real, which I felt in sports, and I felt it in life, that you can ride that on days that you're not feeling it.
And I think you said something really powerful there, because many people wonder, how long is it going to take? What is it going to take
Yeah.
for me to get in that momentum? Because a lot
Yeah.
of people, I mean, if you think about yourself, you went to rehab 7 times.
Oh,
Many people would have said, it's not meant for me, but you kept going.
yeah.
So I wonder, how did you get to that place? What was it that helped you get to the place that you said, this time I can do it? It's going to stick.
And you know what? The thing is, I've said that every time, and I believed it. Like, this is the time, and it wasn't. But now what? Now do I do? After I thought it was, and it obviously wasn't. Do I just stay down? And because I know where that goes, I just know, and there's just no way around it. It eventually gets you to that hopeless place that is devastating. Yeah, the feeling of hopelessness is something that I share with everybody that has struggled with anything, any substance, and it's real. And I think that it's the people around me. That's it. I because I fail. That's what I've done, and the only thing, like your point is, I just keep trying. And, friends say, the ones that eventually it sticks with are those that just keep trying. And so I don't know which time it could be. It might not be this, recovery, but I tell you what, I'll just continue. And every time I do fail, I get a little better at not just kicking the shit out of me, because and I see it in people. It's just, it's so easy to see in somebody. You see them doing it to themselves. But when you're doing it to yourself, it's no different, but it sure feels different. But yeah, that really does nothing good. And so I've improved it, and I'm a work in progress, Joy. There's no destination or finish line or big game coming up. This is just kind of a quiet day-to-day deal that when I'm doing it, I really love my life.
Ooh, I love that you said, I love my life. That's
Yeah.
powerful. But I want to go to what's your sobriety date at this point, and how do you give yourself grace? Is it a conversation? Did you have to go to therapy to get there? Because you said so many people don't. So first I want to know where you are in your recovery journey, and then how do you give yourself that grace instead of kicking yourself?
Well, it's the self-talk that I wasn't even aware of for so many years, and just becoming aware of that, I think is major. Like, more than 50% of the work is just knowing that it's there and being aware of it. It's taken years, and still I want to reach being gentle. That sounds so nice. I am not gentle with myself. There are times, though, there's glimpses of it, but I'm all about the day, 100%. My sobriety date was at 5:30 this morning when I woke up, and I'm just doing it for today. And that's just so cliche, but I'll tell you what, I don't care, because it's the only thing that really has worked for me is just doing 24-hour increments. And it's not even 24 hours because I'm not up. I'm sleeping half that. So it's a daily focus, and I just and I fail, like I said, and I fall short, and I just suit up and show up again, and that's all I can do.
Well, Todd, that's so powerful, because I think for a lot of people, they do focus on that number. Like, I'm 2 days, I'm 3 days. But the way you've been able to do this is like every 24 hours. Like, you
Yeah.
look at it as a 24-hour journey, like where I am this next 24 hours. And I think you said something really powerful, that the self-talk that you had for yourself is something that you shifted. Is there anything else that you changed? Did you have to change your friend groups? Did you go to AA meetings? Like,
Oh,
what
yeah.
things have you had to put around yourself to safeguard your recovery?
Oh, it's just a complete day and night. Everything changes. Everything has had to change. There were, I have really close, lifelong friends that still drink and use. They just don't do that around me, and that's totally fine. I don't have to cut people out that I've had in my life for half of my life, just because they're still doing that. I just don't hang out. But I can still see them at times. It's just, where do I see them? I mean, I have to be wise and usually bounce things off somebody, because I don't always see what's behind and waiting. I get excited, and that's dangerous, and I'm not thinking clearly. But yeah, it's truly, for me, it's about the supporting cast. I cannot do this thing even for 24 hours by myself. I cannot do it, and I have tried, Joy, so many times. because I want to do. I don't want to be vulnerable in front of people. I don't want to show that I'm weak. I just all of this is just going crazy. And the only thing that really is it's really the key for me is when this is just in turmoil and telling me lie after lie, is its action. It's what I do. It doesn't really, if I can stay out of what I'm thinking and my take on situation, and just be in action, that seems to work out so much better. And it's not
And I
easy.
love how you said the supporting cast, because it
Yes.
makes me think of a team on the field, right? It's
Yes.
not just the quarterback. The
Yes.
quarterback can do its job, but
Yep.
you know, it's everybody working together. So when you think about that team or that supporting cast, is that like a sponsor? Like what does your supporting cast look like for you?
It's people that are going through it, you know, and they're at different stages of their recovery. It's not like I got to hang out with guys 20 years sober. No, it's everybody in it, because we're all in it. And I feel that when I'm in the center of that herd, there's some safety there. And I don't want to let the guy down next. I don't want to let him down. And all that comes into play, and feeling accountable with a group is just, and feeling a part of is another, just a huge, gosh, because I stayed in, the rooms for so many years. It's just not talking to anybody, just like a clam. And that's just killing me, you know, and I didn't realize it at the time. I was having a cards, whatever. I was there, for whatever reason, I was there. But thank God there's a place you can go when everybody in your life has completely turned their back or written you off or doesn't want you around. There's a place you can go where people are changing their lives every day, and it's free. And so find that place if you're struggling. And I've met some amazing people in recovery, like really, truly amazing, like angelic people that just are so selfless that I wish I aspired to be that, you know, someday, where I can, it's all about everybody else. And it truly is. And in a great day for me is when that is the focal point. It's about the kids today. It's about the team that I'm working with, or the art that I get to create for somebody. Because when it's about me, I wreck the car, Joy, every time.
I love that, because you hear that often in recovery, the giving back.
Yeah.
You know, giving
But
to
it's so
others, like that's
great.
so huge.
And it makes you feel so good. It's such a win-win. It's such a beautiful thing. You know, I know there's a God when we're designed in that way, where I help somebody, I get the feel good. Somebody witnessing gets the feel good little zap from our chemistry. It's, come on.
And I think also being around other people who get it, because when you're around other people who get what you're going through, have you found there are commonalities like childhood? What kind of things have you noticed? Did everybody have something, or a childhood, or what do you typically find, or the other through lines or the commonalities?
With my fellow travelers, is that what you're
Yes.
saying?
With the fellow
Definitely
people who are on this recovery journey with you.
Yeah, the one that's sad but true is most are abused a lot. Like a huge high percentage of people that struggle with substances were abused, either emotionally, physically, or abuse is abuse. And it's just especially on children, it stays with us, you know, and it takes a lot of work, but thank God there's a way out.
I think that's huge. You said there's a way out, and I think a lot of people need to hear that message.
Yeah.
Like, there is a way out. And I think back to, going through things as a kid, and even one thing you said that really hit me is that you were set up for this in some ways, right? You said, before I even took the first drug or drink,
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
already there. What did you mean by that? Is that what you're tying into your childhood and growing up with that pressure of having to perform, those kind of things? Is that what you felt when you said that
yeah,
this was kind of brewing before you
yeah.
even took the first substance? I want to understand that. Yeah.
Yeah, at that, my environment for sure was, it was, the pot was stirring, and my genetic makeup, because I have it in, both sides. That yeah, it can, it's real in my case, and the seed had been planted. It wasn't. It was just a matter of time, and thrown in an environment, a young, my early years of the way life was, and being super sensitive kid, and sensitivity is another commonality of us, and because it makes sense. I mean, because we don't know how things make our friends feel. We can only feel what we feel, so we don't know if it's affecting people the same. Who knows? Um, but the people that really feel more are susceptible, because you get to a point where it's life can show up, and feel very uncaring at times, that if you don't have tools, which I just didn't have, um, it's an easy transition to substances, especially if you're trying to dumb down the feelings.
And I think back to what you said, your sister said you were like this
Yeah,
intensely shy kid,
yeah.
but your dad wanted you to be this top athlete. He had this
Mm-hmm.
dream in his head for you. And then just having to go through that pressure of having to perform. Parents don't even realize that can be a lot for a kid.
Yes,
Do you give
yes,
that warning to parents? Because I think a lot of parents think, I'm just wanting the best for my kid. I just want them to succeed. But the pressure of that and things like that, like what that
yeah,
can do to a young child.
yeah. And I see it. I see it in young people, and especially, and it doesn't even have to be athletes. There's just academia parents that are just so, um, I don't know if they truly realize that 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 need to perform, for our youth is damaging.
Definitely. I think so too. And
Yeah,
I think that that's a message for many parents. And as
yeah,
we're kind of wrapping up this interview, there are a couple things that I still want to talk to you about. Your
sure.
art.
Oh, cool.
How in the world did you get from football to art? Like, how did you even realize that in your journey? And I mean, it's just, they're opposite sides of each other when I kind of think about them. But how did you find your way to art through this recovery journey?
Well, it was art first. I that was my earliest memories of school, was doing art, loving it. Art never lasted long enough. It felt like, because it felt really similar to recess, where they throw the balls out and they blow the whistle to come back in, and I was like, we just got here. And it was the same thing in the art class. It never was enough, and I knew early on that if I could spend my day either playing sports or doing art, I'd be happy. And it's the same today. Athletics will always be a part of my life. And I'm just a huge fan of team sports. I just, like we said, it sets you up to know there's more than you. It's a beautiful thing. And then creatively, I was an artist before I was an athlete, or they came simultaneously. And I've worked, I worked on my athletic gift way more hours than I had my art. And so when I was done playing finally, and I could devote some time, it was heaven. And I just still think I have the best job in the world. And kids thought it was playing on Sundays, and I was like, no, it's painting. Come on, nobody's chasing me, trying to hurt me. So Yeah, I absolutely love in all mediums, from playing music to writing songs to creating paintings and sculptures, you name it. I love it.
And I think one thing that you said too is you said you love your life now. That's
Yes.
a big thing to say. How did you get to the point of saying, I love my life? Is it something you just woke up one day and felt?
It kind of came over me. Yes. It definitely wasn't something pre-thought. It was it hit me over the head, and that's that is I'm blessed. I am, because I shouldn't be here, and just the fact that I get to do this thing called life for another day. Hey, I'm in.
I love it. So finally, as we wrap up, I just have
Yeah.
two final questions for you. When people read your memoir, we
Yeah.
want people to go out and buy it. I think people may say, is this a book for anyone? Who do you think the book is geared toward? Who would you want to read the book? And what do you hope the biggest takeaway from it is?
Um. Well, my thought when I was doing it, and it's really like a piece of art in a sense. When I paint a picture, painting for somebody, it speaks for itself. I really don't have to uh, say much. That's what I love about it. Uh, but the same thing with the book. I really just hope. My only hope was people it would connect with somebody. Um, and other than that, I really didn't know how much people read anymore. Books, that is. So if it lands in anybody's hands, hey, I am stoked, and try to read with an open mind. That's how I try to live.
And my last question is, what is next for you? I mean, we have the art. We know you still love sports. You've got the new memoir. And I know
Yes.
you're going to say, Joy, I live day by day, right? I know I can hear you saying it's a 24-hour thing, Joy. But I think many people have followed you in your career and loved what you've done through sports and art and all of that. Want to know, what do you see down the future, down the line when you look at yourself?
Well, there's a docuseries coming out, and that's going to be fun.
Based on the book?
Based on we were shooting the last 12 years. And so it'll be episodes, and I think we're about wrapping it up as we speak. And so shortly you'll be able to see that, on your phone today. It's crazy.
Wow. So the docu-series is next, and
Yes.
lots of great things happening for you. Any big plans for the Thanksgiving holiday or anything you're extremely grateful for?
Yes, I am. I think if I can be in a place of gratitude, it's such a healthy and more loving place to navigate from. And so, yeah, every day is a day of giving thanks for me.
I love it. Well, Todd, all the way from Hawaii, I'm jealous, first of all. Joining us all the way. I mean, I can see the beach and the trees and everything, and you took time out to share your story with us. We thank you for that, because I know it's going to bless someone, and we wish you all the best. We'll be tuning into the docuseries. We're encourage people to get the memoir that's out right now. And we just thank you for being transparent and vulnerable, from the shy kid who is
Yes.
here sharing his journey. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for being on Addiction Talk.
Thanks, Joy, for having me. It was a pleasure.